Right, kia ora whanau, I'm here with Baden from Kiwi Esk.
Right in the heart of Eskdale. Yeah.
Right in the heart of Eskdale, where as you can see, there's been a lot of destruction out here. But this is his property here, and he was just telling me what he's been through. Would you mind just going through it from the beginning? What happened here?
Yeah, so we live we've got an accommodation lodge actually in a little vineyard, but the lovely Esk Valley, so sort of went to bed, checking the sheep were okay and things like that.
How many sheep did you have?
Only 30, just a small
30.
small flock, and I thought it never floods here. And yeah, we just, next morning, firstly our neighbours at about 3 in the morning, they came across to us through what was knee high, then as they got up to their waist within 5 minutes, walking to our place. And then we didn't really know what was happening until we looked out the window, and the water was lapping at our feet. All we could see was water.
So you didn't get any warnings, any sirens, any alarms?
This house down here, it travelled 600 metres down the road.
That house travelled 600 metres? Oh my gosh.
These guys here in the caravans, they got evacuated from the riverside camp to a truck stop, and that got flooded, and that they floated down here. They were trying to get into our driveway here, but they couldn't make the turn because the water took them, and that was only at 1 in the morning, probably just after midnight that would have been. And they were older guys in their 70s. They had their cup of coffee in there and ended up on their roof in the morning. So that a lot of amazing stories. People were stuck in ceilings right down this road, and 3 local boys came down in their inflatable and rescued people off caravans and ceilings.
Wow! So these were private rescuers. This wasn't any official rescue.
They're the only rescue we saw on the day.
The only rescue you saw on the day.
Yeah, there was people walking, but as far as being rescued, the only thing we saw was one group who are donned the Navy SEALs now. I think Ricky Ketty was his name, but they saved a lot of people, and they brought a lot of them up to our place and other places over the high water. But it was pretty freaky, the amount of the water that went down. Like, all these vineyards here were totally submerged, to give you an idea of what it was.
So these entire plants were all underwater.
The inflatable was going over these. You didn't know what he was going over, so it was that high. It was way higher than this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and pretty much every house was up to their ceilings on the valley floor, which is where most of the housing is.
How did your sheep fare? Did you manage to get them to high ground?
I heard them. It's probably for me being a farmer, ex-farmer, it was the hardest thing. Was they floated away. So
I'm really sorry to hear that.
That was a bad one next day, but the people thing's more important. But to me, as the farmer, you always look after your animals.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so, just confirming though, there was no civil defence emergency message that came over your cell phones.
We got it at 5:30 in the morning, I think.
But by then it was too late.
It was almost at the peak at that stage, so I think the peak might have been 6:30 in the morning, but yeah. So
wow.
It was just unprecedented. It was a shock, and it was, a lot of trauma for the people who are fearing for their lives. I don't know how a lot of them survived. Just luck of the draw, these guys coming up, big time.
Yeah, definitely. That's amazing, mate. So where to from here? We've just been talking about how you're trying to. So all of these were flattened. All of these.
That's all of these vines. That's an apple orchard over the road. You can't see an apple.
That's
tree.
An apple orchard.
Yeah.
It was an apple orchard.
These guys, they're big businesses. They're devastated. It's a lot of employment, a lot of work. A lot of the economy comes from these businesses operating.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're not part of a bigger organisation yourself,
No, we're on a small 2 hectare. I'm an ex-farmer, but we're on 2 hectare, and we do accommodation for tourists, basically, or small weddings, things like that. So.
And you said you had a few people that took shelter in your home?
There were probably, 15 odd that came up to us, and between the 2 houses with Linden Estate and Valley Divine, we sort of housed them some of them had to get out for emergency reasons, but we housed them as we could,
Yeah.
and we just had no communication with no power, no phones and things like that.
So how long was it before you actually saw civil defence or anyone out here?
Oh, we saw people on foot that day.
Yeah.
Later.
Awesome.
And who tried to walk us out, but we were better to say we were flooded here, sort of impassable for almost a week, I think.
So almost a week, sort of up above vine level.
Just it's really the roading, like the
Yeah.
main road, the culvert was blocked, so the water hung around for a long time. So it's been
Wow.
a long time for us to dry out and things, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I really
Yeah.
appreciate you sharing that story with us. So thank
Right.
you so much.
Too easy. You've just picked up.
Oh shit.
Yeah. One more.
Sandra from Texas. Now this girl knows how to work a digger, mate. A lot better than I can. Go girl.